to the same results the same way. And before I get into this comment, just in case it gets a little heated, I just wanted to let you know it wasn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't. I still want to hold you to. It's not going to cost us any money to do something for you. I want to hold us to that standard, but I can't promise it. So, but I do. I do recognize it. And I guess the comment I would like to make is to share how disappointed I am. Just personally speaking, I'm not speaking for anybody, just as a council. I mean, that at our last meeting, that we basically rewrote a letter. Taxpayer, I don't know, Mr. Salerno, did we get charged any money to write that letter?
No.
Okay, well, just to be able to write a letter of something that is basically a freedom of speech issue. And when I read the post that's on Facebook, I mean, I don't know who was defamed.
Matt.
Right, and like we say, Matt, I didn't see it as anybody being defamed. I didn't see any names that were mentioned. I didn't see. To me, it just sounded like an opinion of a resident. And to me, it just feels like there is somebody as Big Brother is trying to cut off, communications through the internet about people's opinions and freedom of speech. And to me, I was really shocked at the idea, like I would like to ask you, Greg, as a college history professor, like when you read that post, I mean, it was just, to me, I saw somebody's opinion. Why would you feel that it was worthy of us writing a letter as a council, really to kind of, like I felt like it's bullying or trying to shut somebody down for what they said? What was defamatory?
Defamatory in the sense of when you say council is editing. When you say council is editing, you're accusing us of editing. She's accusing you and Dave and Ralph and Lorraine and Betty and me of editing. And I know that's not happening. At least I know I'm not doing that. And I'm pretty sure Matt's not doing it from what he said this evening. And that's it, yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, this is something that's on a social post on a social network, and it has, I mean, to me, it has nothing to do with council. It has nothing to do with council at all.
And I mean, if you're asking for my direct perspective, which is the sense that I'm getting,
right.
My perspective is that last month, a few of us were pretty angry about that, and that the perspective was that we needed to at least make it clear that you just can't make statements like that are based and rooted in no fact, and accuse people of things that aren't true. Now, on top of that, I think we measured what we decided to do last month. Last month, there was a proposal on the table to actually file a lawsuit. And after we thought about it and after we talked it through, we didn't do that. I think we've made our point. Our point was to tell people, to tell Ms. Cochran, whoever, that you just got to be careful about the things that you say. Now, that's basically the way I say it, is I just think it's important that whether it be us, whether it be the school board, whether it be you, me, Ralph, or whomever, that we've got to be careful about the way in which, about the way in which we are presenting people and what they're claiming that we are doing. Now, that claim indicated to me, what I took personally, since you're asking me, what I took personally is that they are editing. Well, guess what? I didn't edit anything. And I know that Betty didn't edit anything. And I'm pretty sure that nobody up here edited anything. I think last month's point was, after we tempered it, after we had a conversation, after we realized, we're not trying to hurt anybody up here. But we do want to make it clear that, we take those things to heart. We take them personally, especially when they're not true.
Well, I don't have the post in front of me, but to me, to listen to it, I'll tell you what it looks like from an outsider's perspective. What it looks like is that you're trying to quiet the residents of the town. And by doing that, to me, that's a threatening letter that, listen, you don't have the freedom of speech. This isn't communist Russia where, that you can just tell people exactly what they can and cannot do. So the freedom of speech to me was, that violated, to me, personally, I thought that was bullying of us to pass that, and even just to write that letter is bullying, and it's telling, listen, you're going to apologize for your opinion. You're going to apologize, and if not, we're going to sue you, which means you're going to have to get a lawyer, you're going to have to, your name, and this is somebody who also is a teacher, somebody who's well respected in the community. This is, and this is something like what we talked about, and even your dad at some point said, it's better that we reach out to those people first before we go on the attack. And I think that's something that we didn't do. We didn't reach out.
And here's where you're being a bit disingenuous, if you want to know my honest opinion. You know full well, the conversation was, should we actually file a lawsuit? You know that was the conversation. You know it. And you know that when we finally tempered our discussion, we decided, no, that's not what we're going to do.
Right.
Maybe you know it. You know that.
Right.
You know that was the conversation. Right. And you know the conclusion that we came to.
Right, listen, I understand that you're getting upset. You know what I mean? But this is something.
You can play your games with everybody.
Right.
I've known you my whole life, and it's not going to work.
Right, listen.
It's not going to work.
Let me know when you're
Go
finished.
ahead. I'm finished.
All right. And I know that you're upset, but listen, this right now, I'm never ingenuous. I always speak from my heart, and that's why people love me or people hate me. Okay? So what you're saying is we toned it down. I was part of the discussion. If you remember, I'm part of the discussion. I said this is ridiculous.
You did.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is, not only is it ridiculous that we're even having this conversation, it's ridiculous to even think that we need to write a letter, let alone a lawsuit. A lawsuit to me, that was so, even you must have realized that was way out of line, because you toned it down and you made it when you read your motion that it was just going to be a letter, which is still saying the same thing, which is, we're...
Tony, can I just say something? We can get off this subject.
Yes.
You come here every meeting and say we should be held to a higher standard.
Absolutely.
She's a school board director.
Mm-hmm.
She made a comment that we were editing films or editing tapes without any proof of anything. If she would have came here, I would respect her more by standing at that podium and saying, this borough council or you, Ralph DiGiuseppe, is telling Matt what to show and what not to show, and I would respect her more. Instead of posting something on Facebook saying that the meetings are being, it didn't affect me, it didn't affect you or anybody in this council. I felt bad for Matt. You had a problem with Matt before. You and him sat down, you worked it out, and you believed the guy. He came here tonight. The situation. But he came here tonight. Let me finish. He came here tonight and wanted to assure this council and everywhere he works that he has a reputation to uphold. So that's the problem I have. Look, are we going to sue anybody? Absolutely not. We send a letter. If it was me or you, and you made a mistake or you put something that wasn't true, I think as a man, you would apologize to Matt and say, look, I said something that I shouldn't have said. I should be held to a higher standard. I'm a school director. That's all we're looking for. So, let's end the conversation. Nobody's going to sue anybody. We're not spending any taxpayers' money on this case. I think she got the message. She pulled it. Her post down, and to me, I'm satisfied. If Matt wants to pursue it on his own with his own attorney, he has every right to do that. Right. So let's just end it. Why keep talking about it?
Because it just happened, and it's something that, to me...
Okay, well, you talk, and when you're done, we'll go to the next subject.
Well, everybody can talk, just to open up dialogue.
All right, I'll talk about when you say First Amendment, freedom.
I wasn't finished
yet.
yet. No, I wasn't. Well, anyway, Greg, just let me finish.
But you should open up dialogue, and then you shut people down.
I opened up with Greg. I just finished talking to you. I said, we can open up dialogue, and you jumped in.
That's usually indicating to me, if you want to open up dialogue, it means somebody should jump in.
Well, I was going to finish my saying, then you can jump in.
Go ahead.
All right. So, the whole thing about it is, if this was handled, and like Mr. DiGiuseppe saying, we just want an apology. And you did take offense to it personally, right? You can't say...
Don't you?
No, I don't take it offense to it.
Well, that's your opinion.
Right, but you did take offense to it personally, and I just felt like we're using our authority, right, to bully a resident or put pressure on a resident that she needs to apologize for opinion. And when I read the thing, and you keep bringing up, it's Matt that you're concerned about, or I didn't see his name written there once. I didn't see his name there at all.
Yeah, I have to at this
So-
point.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ted.
Good.
And this is not just directed to Tony. There's this general sense, and I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but there's general sense that with all this social media, that people could say what they want. That is not true, okay? The First Amendment has limitations, and one limitation is defamation. You cannot say what's untrue and defame somebody. Now, their name doesn't have to be in the statement. If it's clear who they're talking about or the connection can be made, that's enough, okay? This was interpreted by several members of council and the borough manager as being defamatory towards the borough council and towards Mr. Mackey, okay? So they authorized me to send the letter, which we did. Now, I'm going to state here, because I understand that Ms. Cochran is texting people, that to date, I have not received a response letter. It's my understanding that borough has not received one. So I don't know where this response letter is that's supposed to be out there. I'll be willing to read it and address it to the borough manager, but I have not received anything to date, okay? It's important for people to understand you cannot say just what you want. And it doesn't matter that you're repeating what somebody else said. If what you're saying is untrue and defamatory, you could be held liable for that, okay? So I just want to clear this perception that people have that because it's on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, they can say what they want. It's absolutely not true.
But, and on that note, if anyone wants to say, Greg Pezza is the worst council person I've ever seen in my entire life, and goes on to say things, pages long about me personally, that's fine. I'm a public figure, and that is what I'm here, and that's what I've been sent to do, and to understand. But when people make statements like that, and you don't say anything, you're acknowledging that as truth by letting things like that stand. By saying we, again, I want to make this clear. She's saying we, that includes you, that we are editing things. That to not speak to that at all is acknowledging guilt, and there is no guilt. That's number one. And number two is the idea that we wanted to get it out there, and it's out there. We're having a conversation, a civil conversation. And we know we don't want to hurt anybody, and we're not going to hurt anybody. And that's what we made clear last week. We're not going to hurt anybody. But those statements, I don't take them lightly. I'm sorry, I know Ms. Cochran. I've met her a few times. I think she's a nice lady. I don't think she purposely meant to insinuate that Betty and I and Lorraine were editing things. I don't think that was her intent. But I think it's important that she understands that that is not taken lightly when we lump people together. And to not respond is accepting guilt.
Okay, well, to me, you're kind of contradicting yourself in the sense that you're saying on one hand that they, as a council person, you know that you're a public figure, and people can say whatever they want about you. They can write pages, right? But on the other hand, you're saying as a group that you feel that it's worthy of a letter being written to basically threaten Mrs. Cochran that
No,
she
there
needs to
are
apologize.
things that are opinions, like what you think of me, and then there are things that are facts or fiction.
So in that post, but what I'm saying, in that post, nothing there was worthy of a letter, nothing there was worthy of a lawsuit, and to me, I don't understand how you could be, you know as a public official, right, that they can say whatever you want because you're in that, you're in that arena, but then as a group, you take offense to it. That doesn't make any sense, because you are an individual, and although you say it all the time that you're an independent voice, I don't see it.
Is tonight? Let's go after Greg. That's what you're going
No,
with.
it's not.
No, come on.
Right, I don't write
You're being so clear.
Right, listen to me. I don't write on here, let's go after Greg.
Tony, you came in with an agenda tonight. Your agenda
My
was
agenda-
to come right here, and it's so obvious.
Right.
And I'm done, because I think it's so obvious to people out there.
Right, I understand.
I'm done.
I understand. Listen, when you start to feel, that you're in a position that you can't get out of it, and you don't have time to think about it, because you have to speak from your heart, you struggle. That's all.
Do you have anything that...
There's nothing to talk about. It's only a goofball.
Right. A goofball, now that is defamatory. Now listen, I want to ask, that's how ridiculous it is, right? That I turn around, now I'm going to sue you, I'm going to get a letter written. You see how ridiculous it is? I take what you say because when people get their feelings hurt, they resort to those types of name calling. It's embarrassing.
All right, Jeff, good job.
Thanks. That's